Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Nice to meet you here in Berlin.
Nice to meet you. Guten Tag. Guten Abend.
Yeah, last time we just met in Synths, China, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe like a few weeks ago?
Yeah, a few weeks ago, yeah.
I see. And now I know that you basically you stay in Berlin. You live in Berlin.
Pretty much, yeah.
I see. Is there any reason why there?
Well, I've been coming to Berlin regularly since the early 80s.
Yes.
And I've seen a lot of changes here, and I love the city. I've always loved the city very much.
Yes.
And we have an office here. Mm-hmm. I mean, the main office is in London, so I'm in London as well a lot.
I see.
And I have a lot of musicians we work with here, and most importantly, my girlfriend lives here.
Oh, I see. That's very important.
That's very important. So,
okay.
So I love to be in the city. You know.
Yeah. So did you got a lot of influence from the German culture, maybe during the early days of '80s?
Well, before that, really, yeah. More, certainly in the late '60s and early '70s.
Yes.
I was very much into what was known as krautrock.
Yeah.
Artists like Can and Neu, and of course Kraftwerk and Armandul, and many great bands who were really experimenting and very innovative, and very different from what was going on at that time in England or UK or America. So that really was a big influence on me. Those German artists from the late '60s and early '70s really had a huge influence on me, inspired me. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Your first single, the Warm Leather Rap, as the Normal.
Yeah.
The group Normal, and you have a huge success, probably in an alternative way, or an underground type of music.
Yeah.
And then later you form a group called the Silicon Tints, and with probably just you one-man band.
It was just me, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have 4 fake members.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? You were doing an alternative style, warm leather rap, TVOD, and then now you sing in rockabilly teenage pop.
Well, I had this concept, I guess, at that time, electronic music was still quite young.
Yes.
Quite new. And up to that time, it hadn't been so accessible for people to make electronic music.
Yes.
So if you were a young band, normally you would be, guitar, bass, drums.
That's right.
But at that time, just around that time, it was also, for the same money, it was also possible to be an electronic band if you were a teenager. Okay? But there weren't any teenage electronic bands at the time.
Okay.
So I thought I'd invent one. So they were billed as the world's first all-electronic teenage group.
I see.
It was a kind of like a fun idea, really.
I see. Yeah. Now I'm still listening to that album, and then it's a really. I can say that I can find some of the early Depeche Mode, Dreaming of Me type of early prototype in that album. I wasn't a prototype, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Depeche Mode were their own group, right? They wrote the songs. But I guess they were fans of the Silicon Teens, so maybe that influenced them a little bit. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because from the bass line, dun 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 dun. That obviously that is a rockabilly type of bass line.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and but were you did you suggest anything to Depeche? Okay, you guys maybe you should do some way of like a rockabilly style of Silicon Teens.
No, I didn't really tell them and they already had a great musical style. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I suppose what I worked with them on was trying to help them achieve the sounds they wanted to achieve. Because Vince was a great songwriter, and Dave was a great singer, and the other two were really good musicians, but they didn't have that much experience working with electronic music. They used it in a very basic, great way, but quite a basic way.
Yeah.
And they really wanted to learn about techniques and how to achieve different sounds. And so I guess I was a little bit more experienced than them, not so much. So I suppose part of my role was to help them, to show them how to use things and to help them achieve what they wanted to achieve. But I never really imposed a sound on them. It was all about helping them achieve what they want.
I see. Okay. Oh, speaking about like on the production side, I've heard that like you always have like a few rules in the studio, which is one, no preset, or maybe I just heard it recently said that someone told me that you only allow the band to use like a mono synthesizer during the early stage of the recording.
Yeah.
Like
Well, when we started, we didn't have synthesizers that had presets, so there were no presets. So when presets started coming in,
Yes.
I noticed people were just like pressing the button, just not really thinking about how to create the sound, just going through endless presets, different bass sounds or different whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very uncreative and kind of boring.
Yes.
And so I said, no, we'd create our own sounds. And then, if you're going to be an electronic group, if you use presets all the time, then you start sounding like every other group uses presets. So I found it very important to create that we created they created their own sounds.
Yeah.
And also
more identity.
more individualistic. And the people were using a lot of polysynths had just come out.
Yeah.
And I didn't like polysynths.
Why?
They took up too much space. They always sounded like it's kind of too easy in a way to.
In terms of the soundscape.
Yeah, in terms of, of course, in the right hands, polysynths can be great. I'm not, but I felt for them, if they wanted to play chords, they should use 3 monophonic synths rather than so each part of the chord would be slightly different sound. And I thought it would make it much more interesting and have more movement rather than just playing like a bland.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want to play a piano, then that's a polyphonic instrument. Play piano, but not kind of these kind of big brass pads or string pads or something like that. It was very not interesting for me. I thought it made the music sound very flat.
All right. Okay, I remember. Yeah, when you say about chords, like probably the first few chords that I hear from Depeche is "Get the Buttons Right." Like da 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 pum, like dun dun that 2 notes. This is like a 2 note thing, but maybe just 2 note. That's it.
Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah.
I see.
But there was guitar on that track, treated through the synthesizer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. Some of the rhythm was guitar treated with a sequencer going through a filter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like the end result, like we won't hear any like a guitar like typical sound.
No, sure.
All right, this is very interesting. I know that like during the early days that you were using the mini Cork 700.
700S,
700S, like with the traveler filter.
Yeah.
And then you also use the ARP 2600, because I read from the Depeche Mode interview, they always said that they have to borrow Daniel Miller's ARP 2600 and trick or the kick drum, like for the whole day, without like knowing what is going on with that machine. Why do you use these 2 particular synthesizers, like in the early days?
Well, this is called 700S. There was a friend of mine had one, and I played with it, and I just liked the sound of it. What I liked was it's got a repeat function, so you can do sort of rhythms on it, do.
Yeah.
And I also liked the fact that it's kind of 2 synthesizers in one, almost.
Yeah.
The 700S, it's got and so I was able to make drum sounds and things like that.
I see. Okay.
And it also was the cheapest synth I could buy.
Oh, okay.
It was second hand, and it was the least expensive, so I thought, I didn't really know about synthesizers, but I just tried one a little bit and I thought it sounded good, so I thought I'd get that.
And you use that 700S for the normal project?
Yeah, for a normal project, a lot of the Silicon Teens as well.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of, can I say, like, what kind of sequencer did you use by that time?
Well, in the early days, there was no sequencer.
So just live?
Well, there's a repeat button, the repeat switch on the, so I could do a straight rhythm, do, like that.
Oh, okay.
And I could play it, so I could make like do.
And then sing it with the drum machine.
Well, no, there was no drum machine at that time. I didn't. In the very beginning, I didn't use a drum machine.
So how did the drums?
That's on the 700S.
Also.
So there's the main part of the synthesizer, which I made the kick drum from, kind of kick drum.
Yeah.
And then there's the second part of the synth, which is a second synthesizer, which has noise generation.
I see.
And you can switch between the two. Mm-hmm. And so I'd go. I would switch between the top part of the synth and the bottom part of the synth to get the kick drum and the snare drum.
I see. Oh wow, this is like must be like a very interesting experimentation.
Well, it was the only way I could do it. I didn't know another way, you know. But then then when I a little bit later, I bought a second-hand ARP 2600.
I see.
Which was at the time the synthesizer I really wanted to get. It was kind of semi-modular and created a lot of sounds. And I also bought an ARP sequencer.
I see, with the other slider visualization.
16 sliders, yeah. And for me, that was a huge revelation. You know,
and then you can like program like all the parts with it.
Through the notes and the filter and the volume. And it's very playable. Like, you know, the ARP sequencer, of all the sequencers I've ever used, because it's got the sliders, it's very musical. You play it, you know, you're constantly changing it. It's really, I don't know why people don't, you know, people are rebuilding all these old instruments again.
Yeah, but in a knobs form.
But the whole point was that why it was so great was it was you could have it either quantized or not quantized.
Yeah.
So you use the quantized output, wherever the sliders were, they'd always be in tune. And so if you didn't use the quantized, then you get other very interesting effects as well.
I see. Yeah.
And you control the filter, you can control the volume. Yeah, it's a great. I still have it, and I still use it.
Sometimes, that solved my question like a long time ago, because when I was a young kid, and then I listened to some of the bass line that from your artist playing, and I just wonder, there's no way for a human being to think of that particular melody lines. It's so awkward, but somehow it just have like its own like a machinery type of feel, and in it, not until like I really.
Well, that might have been the ARP sequencer. I can't say which song or whatever, but we used it a lot, and Depeche loved using it in the early days. Vince Clarke really loved the ARP sequencer.
I see. Yeah, I think that since I saw a video that Vincent Clarke is still using the ARP sequencer. In the album, in the vinyl, and then I will see like produced by Daniel Miller and Gareth Jones, Depeche Mode. On the other side, like, do you actually help them take the vocal tracks in the studio?
Yeah, I mean, do you mean vocal production?
Vocal production, yes, right.
Yeah, sometimes. But Gareth, who was my production partner for most of the Depeche Mode, that was his speciality.
Okay.
He was really good at doing that, so he did more of that.
I see.
Yeah.
But you also sometimes, you're also responsible for doing that.
Yeah, and you know, when Vince left and Martin started to write the songs, Martin Gore, he was very much part of that, making sure that Dave could get the melodies and everything like that he wanted, so.
Dave for Dave to get the melody. You mean like for Dave to?
Well, to help him practice, because some.
To sing in terms of singing.
Yeah, in terms of singing. Yeah.
Like the pitching, maybe the rhythm.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I see. All right. Because that is like a tedious work. I always do spend a lot of time in the studio.
Yeah.
Like recording artists doing vocal track, which is like totally different thing from tricking the synthesizer.
Yeah,
kick
it's
drum.
not my specialist thing, to be honest. I'm not patient enough, sometimes.
That's true.
Unfortunately, Gareth is very patient, so.
Yeah. And later, you guys really start to use a lot of different sampler, like the Emulator 2, like an Emax. You sample all those like a metal noise thing, and then you put it into the music as probably like a rhythm track. And which I think, or maybe the song "I Want You Now," which has the human breath, like inhale, exhale type of thing as the groove, the basic groove of the track. How did you come up with that kind of like a brave idea?
Well, we were very excited. I mean, we were really excited by the idea of sampling.
Yeah.
And we just, as soon as we got our first sampler, which was the Emulator 1 actually, and then soon after that we got the Synclavier. We just went crazy. We're just recording everything. I mean, I don't know. We said, oh, let's just try this, and then we just, it was just very spontaneous. And Stones and metal and bicycle wheels and everything. You know, whatever we could do, and then see what, pitch it down an octave, pitch it up an octave, see how it sounded, and whatever.
Do you guys actually go to those industrial area and then hit those metal?
We did a bit, yeah. Where we recorded Construction Time Again was the first time we used samplers.
Yes.
And we recorded that in Shoreditch, which is now a very fashionable part of London.
Yeah.
In the East End. But then it was very derelict. It was a depressed area. A lot of old factories, a lot of old closed down, and a lot of old shops closed down. A lot of buildings being knocked down.
Okay.
So we went to some building sites, you know, where they're demolishing the building. We used the area very much as part of the record. Yeah.
I see. So like.
And Gareth had a Stellavox, really great portable tape recorder.
Yes.
Professional portable tape recorder.
Yeah.
So he brought that along to record the sound. Yeah.
I see. Along with like the members of Depeche.
Yeah, we all went as a group.
Yeah.
And we recorded vocals as well.
Yeah.
The song Pipeline.
Yeah.
We recorded that by railway, and if you listen, Martin's singing, and you can sometimes hear the trains going in the background.
Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Like. Can I say that you are actually the fifth member of the Depeche Mode, or maybe even the first member? Because of all the
I don't think of it like
inspiration.
That. Depeche is Depeche.
Yeah.
And I'm an outside collaborator, shall we say, rather than a member of the band.
I see.
There's a difference, you know. I see myself as a collaborator, co-producer, whatever you want to call it. But I would never call myself the fifth, first, second, third, fourth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th member of the band.
I see. Because
some people say that Anton Corbin is the fifth member of the band.
Oh,
so, you know, and he would never say, no, the band is the band, and we the people around the band are the ones who collaborate to help them achieve what they want.
I see. How to get signed for a new record label?
First of all, I have to touch me in some way.
Okay.
Communicate with me in some way, you know, on some level, emotional or other level, intellectual level. I have to communicate
through music.
Through the music.
Talking.
Just the music. Yeah.
Just the music. Yeah.
First, the music. Yeah?
Yes.
Then, in order for that to happen, I think normally the artists are really very special in some way. They have a special original quality to them.
Yeah.
It could be anything. If they're a singer, it could be the vocals or the lyrics, or it could be, if it's electronic music, how they make the sound. Something that's really original.
Yes.
And then, you know, I have to, not just me, but the other people at Mute have to be able to communicate well with the artists. We have to get on together. We have to understand their vision.
Yes.
And share their vision. And if we can share their vision, sometimes their vision is completely different from what ours is.
Yes.
In which case we say, try somewhere else.
Yep.
But if we share that vision and we have a good working relationship, that's very important. Personal relationship.
It's like a healthy relationship with the label and the artist as well.
Yeah.
During the early days of Mule Record, you only got 3 people in the whole company.
In the early days, it was just me.
Just you. Okay.
Yeah, and then
was it hard to start with?
No, it's really easy because I had no. It was the easiest thing. That was the easiest time.
Okay.
I made one single.
Yeah.
I pressed it. The shop sold it.
I see.
It was really, really simple.
All right.
It was good fun, you know.
Yeah.
But then, of course, when you start working with other artists, then you need more support because they need help. So around the first single came out in '78. Around the middle of 1980, I had my first employee.
Okay. After the Warm Leather Red.
Yeah, after just when we released the first albums in 1980, DAF, Silicon Teens, Fad Gadget.
Yeah.
And around that time is when I got some help.
I see.
And then when Depeche started to take off, then I needed a lot more support because the work really was multiplied by every day by 5 times. You know.
Yeah.
And we had a team in the house, maybe 6 or 7 people.
Yeah.
And we also worked with some freelancers as well.
I see.
Yeah.
have you ever think of like maybe developing more of your music business in Asia area, like Japan, China, Hong Kong?
Well, Japan, we started early in Japan, with Depeche especially,
Yeah,
and then Yazoo.
touring. Yeah,
Touring and record sales are really good.
yeah,
And Nick Cave did very well in Japan at a certain point, and so did Einstürzende Neubauten
yeah.
on more underground level. But now it seems a lot harder in Japan. The international international sector of the market is shrinking all the time.
Yep.
And of course, Asia is there are fantastic opportunities in Asia. And I'm hoping next year we're trying to put together a little new tour of Asia.
Really?
With 3 or 4 artists. Yeah.
Oh wow, that sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I spoke to Cello.
Yeah.
I spoke to Cello and Yibing about it. And the Japanese company want to do it. And they so we'll see if we can do something. It should be great.
I see. How about like signing up like an Asian artist?
Well, again, I'm especially interested in. I heard some interesting Chinese electronic music. I think instrumental music is more likely to break through internationally than vocal.
Yeah.
Just simply because of language and because of. I mean, it's a shame because I think the American and British markets are very prejudiced against any foreign language artist. Very, very few foreign language artists have ever had success.
Okay. So what do you think about the EDM music nowadays?
EDM as a genre.
It's a genre, yeah.
I'm not such a big fan. I think it's great that the positive thing about it is that it's helped spread the word of electronic music.
Yep.
And I think that some people who are into EDM will then hopefully explore more interesting electronic music, more experimental. As a genre, it's not my personal taste.
I see.
I'm more into darker kind of electronic dance music.
Like to me, like the music under the Mill label, they always have some kind of experimentation in terms of like orchestration.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they also have a lot of good quality pop melody.
Yeah.
Like on top of the maybe a kind of like a strange arrangement.
Yeah.
Like is it because of the artist's idea or like from your principle of like a...
Well, I think they're the kind of people I like to work with. So the type of people I choose to work with some of them have that pop and experimental sides to them. And so it's more about... I try and inspire them in some way to be experimental, of course.
Yeah.
But it has to come from them in the end. It's not my record; it's their record,
Yeah.
And the kind of people I like to work with are the kind of people who will experiment and try new things. So it's down to who I work, the choice of artists.
Okay. All right. I guess do you have anything that you want to speak to the audience in Asia, China, Japan?
I had a great time in Asia, in China, Japan, Taipei.
Like a few weeks ago, you were like touring.
Yeah, I was
there,
doing
right?
a DJ tour. I really enjoyed. I'm really very keen to come back as soon as possible.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and
wow.
meet some of the old friends I made there, and make some new friends, and play in some interesting places, and
I see.
eat some of the great food.
Yeah,
of course.
Like,
without saying,
I see. You like sushi. You like fried rice, that type of.
And I like I had some very strange, not strange, but it wasn't really strange, but food I'd never eaten in China before.
Snake?
I didn't eat snake, but I had some extremely spicy food, which was like really amazing because I love spicy food.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what it was called. It begins with a I don't know. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you and all my friends in Asia again very soon.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to meet you again, probably in Asia, in Berlin, London.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome. Very nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Okay.
TBOD, TBOD, TBOD.